we're going to focus on 5 steps to affirm and operationalize your workforce strategy. The process is best thought about in 2 phases. Phase 1 is to determine and affirm the strategy. And phase 2 is to operationalize the strategy. Step 1, determine and affirm. It's easy to say, but it's much harder to do. Even those of you who have already determined your strategy may feel compelled to reassess key building blocks of your strategy in light of what it is that you learned today. So at a high level, you'll need to decide whether the strategy is fully remote, fully office, or a hybrid blend of the 2. But this is also a decision around whether this is an organization-wide mandate, or will the choice of the strategy be narrowed down and left to the discretion of departmental and team leaders? Ultimately, who's making the decision for the organization at either a macro level or sort of boots on the ground at the micro level? Now, once you've made these decisions, you can move on to phase 2, to operationalize the strategy. As mentioned, this is where you determine criteria and guidelines. But we also mean specifics around when people will be working in the office versus remote. And examples include X number of days of the week in the office, or instead perhaps X% of time in the office, which provides a little more flexibility. And there may be variations for specific employees based on their job, description, or travel requirements, as opposed to a blanket policy. We also recommend in this phase that you consider categorizing each employee to help communicate the plan throughout your workforce in a way that's transparent and to ensure equity. Next, you'll need to memorialize the plan. That's step 3. This not only means putting the plan in writing, but it also means documenting specific human resource policies, updating job descriptions and contracts, and of course, creating the dynamic schedules that you're going to need, which will detail when and where employees are working as a schedule any particular day or any particular week. After clear documentation, you'll need to prepare a very clear communication and change management plan. So in this, it's critical that you anticipate the effect of your strategy on your culture and on the operations. So preparing a 12-month communication playbook is going to put you in position to manage the change smoothly. Things to include in the playbook are a roadmap of key milestones, a plan for which communication vehicles you'll utilize, such as Slack, newsletters, will be town halls, etc., and even a mini library of pre-planned internal messaging that anticipates each milestone and possible reactions. This is what's going to help you avoid being caught flat-footed in the coming months. Finally, with any major change, such as a new workforce strategy, you should assess, recalibrate, and ultimately evolve over time. You should review your strategy every 3 months after the initial rollout in order to ensure continuous improvement and that the strategy continues to be aligned with the organization's mission. Allow your organization to experiment with new ideas, remain nimble. And in fact, all this planning and road mapping and team building, et cetera, it really puts you in position to remain nimble as situations change over time. And a great way to do that is solicit feedback along the way, and then take the initiative to make sure that the changes that you are making are achieving the fundamental business goals of productivity, recruiting and retaining talent, and financial results.